Hello, everyone. My name is Dave Short. I'm the Oklahoma PBL president and your host for the 2014 PBL Pro Tips series. And we are coming to you live today from Tulsa, Oklahoma, on the beautiful campus of Tulsa Community College Metro Campus, home of America's largest local PBL chapter. And my guests today are PBL president Kevin Cox and SGA president Jenna McGrath. All three of us, we are the PBL power team here on the campus. Triad Unite. What? For sure, for sure. It's good stuff. And we just wanted to share our hints, our different advice tips that we can provide to you. It is the Pro Tip series after all, and we want to give you the inside track on how our chapter has had so much success. So before we do that, I have a little tradition on the PBL Pro Tip series to ask each of our guests how they got involved in PBL and have them give you a little background of how they got to where they are. And so we're going to start with Mr. Kevin Cox. Kevin, how did you get started in PBL, and how did you end up riding the curve up to be a part of this chapter as the president?
Well, honestly, I got started in this local chapter the same way I would say, especially at the time, a large majority of our chapter members get recruited, and that is by the wonderful advisement team that we have in this chapter, and specifically Mr. Mitchell Ober. I was a student in one of his classes, and because I was a good student in computer concepts, he very strongly encouraged me that he wanted me on our chapter's team to compete, specifically to compete, because I was, like I said, I was a good student in his computer concepts class. So he had me compete in that and telecommunications at state, and I was lucky enough to place first in both of those events, and then go on to compete at nationals in Anaheim this last year, and was very proud to place fifth in telecommunications in the nation. So it hasn't, I haven't been in PBL for a long time, but with the support of some awesome advisors and some awesome members of sources of encouragement like Dave, I've been able to accomplish a lot in a very short amount of time.
That's awesome. And Jenna, who is our SGA president on campus, how did you get started in PBL?
Well, at first I wasn't really aware that we had a PBL here on campus, and like all good things, word of mouth travels very fast, and
Right.
I just thought that I would get comfortable with being uncomfortable and try something new and just see what it had to offer, and it was probably one of the best decisions I've made so
Okay.
far.
Awesome. Well, and everybody knows my story. I was a young warthog. I'm kidding. Of course. Something that Kevin had talked about and Jenna both alluded to in their stories is the kind of secret sauce to the way PBL is recruiting here at TCC Metro. I'd like to call it the Top Gun approach. Okay, and what that basically is just like the movie Top Gun, where they would go and find the best people and bring them in. When I was first approached about PBL, it was Mitchell Ober, Wall of Fame advisor, coming to me and saying, "You're the best web designer in the entire school. You're competing with us. You're going to go win some trophies for the school." Kevin was the same way. Jenna just happened to be in a hallway, and we were like, "Hey, she's cute. Let's bring her in." Just kidding. Of course, she was also approached. "You're the SGA president. We would love to have you in PBL." And so that created a connection, which just furthers our reach as a PBL chapter. It's really important when you sit down with your PBL officer team to think about all the ways you can extend your base. Your core, what is the strongest part of your chapter, is what determines your reach. And at TCC Metro, how many chapter officers do we have, Kevin?
We have enough so that it's difficult at times to keep a exact count, but I'd say it's to round it out to say we have about 20 officers,
Okay,
including myself.
So let me get this straight. The average PBL chapter is usually around 14 members.
Yeah.
TCC Metro has 20 officers.
Yeah, that's true, and I think it's a necessary thing when you have as many members as we do. I cannot, nor do I want to try to fill all of those leadership roles.
Right.
It's much more practical and also satisfying to delegate out some of those responsibilities to to empower some other of my fellow students with the chance to be leaders.
And we
And-
try. I didn't mean to talk
No,
over
no,
you.
no, no.
We try to keep the leadership ratio to be about 1 officer for every 10 to 15 people that we have, which is going to be true in your chapter as well. The numbers just may not be so exponentially out of control.
And I was just going to say that I think an important part of being a good leader is recognizing that there's some things that I do really well, but at the same time, you have to recognize when there's great people around you. I have some awesome officers, and there's things that they do that they can do better than I can. And so why not take advantage of their strengths and empower them to help me in that way?
Right, and the biggest thing that you learn in student leadership is that delegation role, right, Jenna? I mean, you're the president of SGA. Obviously, this isn't necessarily PBL focused, but in SGA, we also break down our committees as well. Why don't you talk a little bit about that?
Yes, well, definitely with anything, whether it be PBL or student government, you need to break up those committees to have everything fair, and also different people think different ways, and you get great outcomes. Like,
Yeah, well, no, I totally agree with you. I think the biggest thing about building a team is allowing your leadership to be vulnerable enough to say, I'm not good at everything. I need your help. And what that does is that gets buy-in from so many people. The great thing about our PBL chapter that I think gets often hidden in the numbers and the sheer awards and everything is the engagement that we have. We have so many people who are actively involved in PBL. It's not just a number of people who wanted to get extra credit in a class like we could have probably said it was a few years ago. When we first started recruiting people, it was, hey, you want extra credit? Come to our thing. You want extra credit? Come to our thing. Now it's, we know that you're the best at this. We know that you are really good at this. Our professors, our advisors have come to us and they said that you're the best at this. They've seen you in class. We want you to be a part of our group. And being hand selected to do something, it really has a stick to it, right? I mean, wouldn't you agree?
yes, definitely.
Makes somebody feel valuable, like they're not just a part of the team, but they're a valuable asset to your team.
Right.
Makes them more emotionally involved or just committed to what they're not just attending. They want to be, like you say, be an active part of the team.
Right. Now we're going to go through some of this pretty quickly so we can keep this interview down a little short in time because we all three have to go to a meeting to get signed up for our competitions. So we're going to have to do this pretty quick. But a few things that we do that's a little different than what I've seen other chapters around the country do is, number one, we do class visits.
It's crucial.
You want to be in front of as many people as you can. If you could go around our campus today, today's our big rally to get people into competitions. There is a poster literally every 10 feet for PBL for the meeting today. There are groups of our officers going to classrooms and pumping up students to be a part of this. They go to every single class, and we're respectful. We don't just like come barge in and be like, woo, PBL party, or anything like that. But we schedule, we take the time to make sure that we have permission to go to all of these classes, and we canvass and we set a goal to go to every single class on the campus at least one time. Now, do we do that? I mean, obviously we can't. There's like 5,000 classes here, but we do cover over 100. We get in front of 30 to 15 students at a time. That's better than a flyer. That's better than
Much
sitting
better.
at a table for 2 hours during lunch and hoping people come to you.
You know what I think is an important part of it too that I've been trying to incorporate is most recently when you and I went around last semester, I think it's important for us in PBL not to get caught in a perspective that that's a niche or like it's only a place for business majors. It's only a place for finance.
That's right.
I'm the president of the largest chapter in the nation. I'm a fine arts major. From a lot of art students' perspectives, they may think, that's not a place for me, or that's a business organization, and that's the opposite of what I'm doing. But that is most certainly not true. And I think if we, one thing that we continue to strive to do and should continue to strive to do is to be all to go out and search, go visit the nursing classes, go visit the art classes, go visit the business classes, go visit, so that you give as many students a chance as possible to come have fun with us.
And I was even going to tie in Jenna here. Jenna is a little Bill Nye the Science Guy with a ponytail. She's taking classic like chemistry and calculus and crazy things like that. She's not in like intro to business or anything, but you're still competing with PBL.
Yes, definitely. PBL has something for everybody, which when you hear about it at first, you think, oh, definitely like this is for business only, but I'm studying science and mathematics for pre-dental, and there's things that PBL can help me with to try to do and fulfill my dreams as well.
Right. I mean, just because you're going to be a hairstylist or a dental hygienist or a painter doesn't mean you don't need to know how to run your business. We even added a competition this year called Entrepreneurial Concepts, because even at a national level, they recognize PBL is attracting a lot of entrepreneurs as well. So that's a very important thing for you to be thinking about on your campus. Now, let's go and fast forward to this competition pep rally we're about to have. All right, can you walk us through the average person? Like, they've seen the flyers, we've been in their homeroom, which makes it sound like it's high school. We've been in their class, we've basically have done everything possible to get their attention, and now they're going to come. What should they expect at this meeting?
Well, typically our chapter meetings can be pretty diverse in the topics that, I mean, honestly, it seems like every chapter meeting I've been a part of, it's like one more thing and one more thing. We have so much to talk about. But I think in the past, and especially today, this meeting is going to be very focused on state conference and therefore kind of looking even further ahead to national conference.
Right.
And
we have that expectation. We want to
Absolutely.
be at the national conference in a big way.
And so, like when I say the meeting is focused on state conference, we might touch real briefly on a couple of important things just to keep everybody abreast of what's going on locally. But 99% of what we discuss with our students today is any questions about the events that, any concerns that you have. Where's our registration? Which events? We're literally
we lay all of that
the
stuff
logistics of how they're going to get there.
Right. Now, Jenny, you've been through this before. Explain to them what the big papers are like.
Oh, wow. Definitely after the event, you want to run over there and get signed up. It's crazy.
So what you can see the excitement on her face. This is what happens. When you walk into this meeting, there's an entire ocean of like 4-foot tall pieces of paper that have every single event that PBL offers and an opportunity for you to sign up for the event. What usually happens is there is like this bum rush to get your name on the list, because what happens in this chapter with so many people is every single spot fills up. And if you have a particular event in mind, it's scary. You want to get there, right? Right? So we have to talk a little bit about chapter strategy because of that. We have all of these spaces filled. What happens if we have 5 people who want to do public speaking, but we can only send 2?
Well, I think it's kind of a 2-step process, and the first step is just kind of getting the students together and either in a one-on-one basis or right there at the time and saying, hey, we are so excited about your enthusiasm to help go compete for our chapter. But just real quick, so we can make sure that we're all on the same page. We're not going to put a gun to your head, but this is a commitment. When you're signing up on this piece of paper, we need to know that you're signing up because you have every intention of going and participating.
Yeah, in our chapter, we pay for everybody to go. We don't do a whole lot of fundraising. We're fortunate enough to have a school that really backs our chapter, but we don't want to spend money on somebody and then have them back out. But at the same time, so the first thing we do is we go to them, we make sure that they're very interested, very, very interested, that they're going to make a return on our investment in them, that they're going to go compete and get this award. Second thing, this is where it branches out, and we either have that person go head to head with the other people who want to do that. Let's say public speaking. We'll have a little public speaking contest right here, right, almost in the same room, like a week later, or we go to those people and we say, did you know about impromptu speaking? Did you know that you could do another presentation where you get the opportunity to speak in front of a panel of judges and it doesn't necessarily have to be a speech? Like entrepreneur concepts or small business management or whatever it might be, where you can stand there and talk about your experience, or even help desk, things like that. So you do have to have a chapter strategy. Now, not everybody needs to worry about this. Obviously, there are some chapters out there who are just happy to have 4 or 5 people. And that's where we go back to, don't expect them to come to you. They're not going to come to you. PBL doesn't matter to people who don't know what PBL is. You're selling the experience, so you need to make this event, like the one we're about to go to, it's like a pep rally. It's like a miniature national conference in our dining hall.
Including laser light show.
There's even a juggler. I'm kidding. There's not a juggler. But it's a great opportunity, and it's something that we really enjoy here at this chapter to be able to do. I know it sounds like we're tooting our horn a little bit, and I mean, kind of we are. I mean, we are the biggest chapter. We've been that for a while, but we want you to succeed also. In August, we all start at 0. That's important for you to understand. We don't have even one member on August 1st until we go out and we recruit. And that's why your base has to be strong, so that you start on that first day with that base carrying over. You have 20 people that you instantly know are going to be there, and you make those people your core group. You give them a job, you make them an officer, and then that core is so big that it is able to stretch out and reach the campus, because 2 people or 3 people don't have the ability to go to all of these classrooms, but 20 people can reach way more. And imagine the recognition and the attention that you would get from your school to raise funds like we are able to with our school. If you had an actual percentile that you could show the school and say, look, this percentage of the school is a part of PBL, then you don't have to beg the school to pay attention to you and pay for you to go to your conference. They want you to, because they want to dominate. I mean, we have administrators at TCC that are like moms and dads of like little football players. Like, they are in the seats cheering us on. Like, they're on their computer watching national awards ceremonies from Tulsa when we're out in the different parts of the country, literally screaming their face off. Like our VP, Dr. Jane Clayton, she told me one time, she's like, I was screaming till I was blue. And she was just going at it. So these are some of the secrets that we have. I know that a lot of you have already seen some of this presented when we were at NLC. We had a workshop there. But one of the big things you want to do with this competition season is you want to sell the experience. What hooked you on PBL? Was it not NLC?
State planted the seed, and then I remember walking into, like, say for example, the opening ceremony in Anaheim and thinking, wow, you know, this isn't just a ragtag group of students coming together to dress nice and to feel self-important. This is a legitimate experience. You walk into, I you know, specifically speaking to anybody that's never had the pleasure of participating with NLC, when you get to see it, when we're in Nashville this year, you walk into, you know, for lack of a better description, it's almost like a really safe, like a club atmosphere. You walk in, it's like there's awesome music playing, there's a awesome laser light show, there are thousands of people in that room screaming for their state, screaming for their chapter. It's something that we earn as diligent students and as diligent members of PBL. We earn the right to go and have fun and network with each other. It makes the entire semester of hard work worth it to go and participate.
And that's what hooks you, right? That's what makes you want to come back the next year.
Especially if you get a chance to get up on stage. That's
Right.
that the spotlight's a nice place to be.
Definitely. I want to have Jenna answer this last question, because she's over there in the corner away from me and she's all hiding behind Kevin. if you could give anybody watching a tip about student leadership, just like how do you reach another person? How do you get another person involved in what you care about, like PBL, SGA, all the other things that I know you're a part of? What tip would you give them?
I would tell them to like the reasons why I joined PBL or SGA and what effects it has had on me, and try to get to know them and find out like what difference it would make in their life, and give that like, hey, like you need that, like PBL, SGA can give this to you, like, and sometimes they don't even realize the connections that they can make in those different kinds of groups.
I would say the same thing. I think that's what she said is exactly how I'd answer that question. It's you relay your personal experience of what, with just very small amount of input from us, what PBL has given back to us for our investment, what it's given to us for our participation.
Right. Of the preparedness that you get by going through the motions of applying for a position on your chapter's team, because that's what you're doing. You sign up on a piece of paper, and sometimes that's all you have to do, but sometimes you have to fight to keep that spot. Then you go to state, and you go through the process of having to look the part, having to dress the way that a real workforce environment is going to ask you to dress, carrying yourself in that very professional way, which isn't very easy for a guy like me who is sometimes really a cut up, but it gives you that practice. And then you stand, if you're doing a performance event, you stand in front of a panel of judges like a boardroom, and you command the audience with your product and with your passion for what you're doing, and then you really sell yourself to these people, and then you get rewarded for it. And when you go into a real world scenario of having to get in a job interview, that then feels so much easier to do, because you're not intimidated by it, because you've simulated it so much through PBL. And that for me is what I like to share with those people that I catch in the hallway. We're all students. We're all poor students that don't have jobs. And I recruit most of the people that come to our chapter through my connection just by saying, if anything else, just come for the way PBL prepares you for the real world. Like when you leave our competition season and you go into the summer internship programs or wherever it is you go for the summer, it's so much easier. I mean, now I'm not even close to intimidated about work interviews or job interviews. Like, how many of you have been so nervous about a job interview that you're even on Facebook like, oh God, please somebody pray for me. Call the prayer chain, because I'm going on this interview and I can't lose this job. I just got to have it. And you're super nervous. I can't say that I've had that experience now that I've been in PBL. I go into those job interviews knowing that I'm in command. I'm confident of how I'm being portrayed.
Let me say too, Dave, I was really excited. This is kind of a success story I haven't even gotten the chance to talk about. PBL has gotten me not only in a room for the opportunity for lots of jobs that I could have if I wanted them. The job that I actually am recently employed by Men's Warehouse, who is
They're
a national sponsor of PBL.
Right.
I could have gotten this job on my own merit, most likely, no problem. But PBL made it happen, and it made it happen soon. When we were at the conference in Grapevine just a few months back, Men's Warehouse always does, their Dress for Success seminars. Approached one of the.
You walked right up to
I
the guy.
approached the regional manager and said, "Hey, I heard you guys were looking for some great people." He interviewed me on the spot. The next week, I was working for him.
It was crazy because I was standing right there, and the guy looked right at Kevin and says, "I got Tulsa. Let's go." And interviewed him literally 10 feet from where we were standing. And that's something that PBL, you should be selling that to your people. PBL sponsors are growing by the number every year, and our national treasurer, Morgan Malott, will be on the ProTips series talking about some of those sponsors as much as we can, delve out in public, because we like to keep some of those cards close to our chest. But the opportunity to just be in front of these places, like website design, the competition that I've competed in the past, is sponsored by Geico. You get this check from the Geico gecko lizard. You high five him, you get your picture taken with him, and then literally seconds after you get off the stage, somebody from Geico comes up to you and says, "You made an amazing web page. Would you like to make one for us?" Like, are you serious? Like, that's an opportunity that you should be selling to your members. Come compete with us, because when you do, you get to meet the gecko lizard.
Like, I'd say, to sum up PBL for a lot of people, probably all three of us included, if you're going to do a one word on PBL, it is opportunity. It's opportunity.
That's right.
It's giving yourself the chance to have opportunities that you may not have otherwise had.
Yeah. So this year's theme is excellence in action, and that's exactly what every PBL member that I've ever met has embodied. They're just like this excellence, and you see them proactively pursuing what they want because of the opportunity this provides. So anyways, we are here again on the campus of TCC. Thanks so much for being my guest on this video. Jenna, thank you so much.
Thank you.
The next video coming up is going to be with your Mountain Plains Vice President, Katie Clark. She's got so many awesome things to be talking to you about. Stay tuned here on this YouTube channel. We'll be getting more videos to you. Also, check our Facebook out that we just set up for the Pro Tip series specifically. It's at facebook.com/PBL ProTips. Until next time, I'm Oklahoma PBL President Dave Short. Thanks for watching.